As you can see, this is a chord progression that Travis is using in a lot of his music. So if you want to make a song sound exactly like a Travis Scott song, you need to be using the After watching today's video, you'll be able to make Travis Scott beats from his proven formula. Now, one warning though, if you use this formula wrong, you will end up in the black hole of auto-tune. You don't need music theory to be able to consistently make beats that sound like Travis Scott or any of your favorite artists. You just need to be able to count to 7. Or at least have one finger. We'll be using our new plugin Scorch, which makes making beats in the style of your favorite artist effortless with its built-in chord generator. With or without knowing any music theory, you can quickly access the same chords your favorite artists have used in songs from Travis and Drake and many others to quickly come up with samples and beats that sound like they belong on your favorite artist's next album. Music theory does not need to be hard, so let's start by going over the chord numbering system in 90 seconds. This easy system is going to change the way that you make and you hear music. The numbering system is a game changer because it allows you to come up with quick chord progressions using a numbering system instead of the chord names. Every scale has 7 notes, so in C major here we have a C, a D, an E, an F, a G, an A, and a B. And then after that it kind of just repeats. So those are the 7 notes that you have in that scale. So now if we take those 7 notes and we turn them into chords also in that scale, you get these 7 chords. And those are the 7 numbers that make up the C major scale. This works in all the scales, so again, for an example here, we'll use E major, where we have an E, an F sharp, a G sharp, an A B, a C sharp, and a D sharp. Those are the 7 notes inside of this scale. Again, if we wanted to make full chords with those same notes, they would sound something like this. Now that you know how the chord numbering system works, you're going to be able to quickly understand what other producers are doing and able to actually riff off of those same chord progressions in your production. So let's apply that numbering system to some of these great Travis songs. So the first song we'll do is Rest in Peace Screw by Travis Scott. We'll come to tune bat. We find out that this is in C minor. It's also in 75 BPM, which is great to know, but the main thing here is knowing that it's in C minor. Next, we can come over to Chordify, which is great if you haven't used Chordify before. It'll tell you the chords in your favorite songs. I'm not going to actually play the song here because it'll strike the video, but we'll just go over the chords in this song. So as you can see, this is a really simple chord progression. We have the G minor going into the A flat major 7, then we go to the G minor 7 and back to the A flat major 7, and then it just continues to repeat itself. To help simplify this even farther and make sure that you guys fully know the numbering system, I'm going to be using scalar today. So the first thing that I am going to do is go to my C minor scale. Now that I'm in my C minor scale, I can see that there's a C minor, a D minor, an E flat major, an F minor, a G minor, an A flat major, and a B flat major. There's a lot going on, but to simplify that, instead of knowing all of those chords, we can actually use the numbering system. So that means it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if we go back to our Travis Scott song, we see that the very first chord in this progression is G minor. So that means that it is going from a 5 into the next chord, which is A flat major, which is actually the 6. So we're basically just going back between different variations of the 5 and the 6. If you wanted to make a song really similar to Rest in Peace Screw, you could be going back between the 5 and the 6. Also, we know that it's in C minor, so you could stay there. You could also switch it up, maybe try a different key. And then on top of that, you could stay in 75 BPM, as we just found out from TuneBat, which is the tempo of the song. So now you're gonna be really working in that world. But let's check out another song by Travis Scott. So the next song is 90210, one of my favorite Travis songs. We see that it's in A minor, and it is 81 BPM. So let's go behind the hood and see what chords those are. So again, I'm gonna go back into scalar. I will find A minor. And now that we have our A minor scale loaded, we see that's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So let's go check out these chords. First, we're gonna start off with the B minor. So let's find the B minor, that is a 2. The next thing we're gonna find is the C, which is the C major, that is a 3. And then it goes into the A minor, which ends up being the 1. So we're going 2, 3, and 1. And now I don't know if you guys are kind of seeing this, but something similar just happened between 90210 and Rest in Peace Screw. So what's happening in both of these songs is we're actually going up just one. So in a lot of Travis's music, he goes between, let's say in this example, starting off with a 2 and then going to the 3, or in the last example how we had it going from the 5 to the 6. He does a lot of those steps where it literally just goes up or down one chord, aka one number. So if you really want to get that Travis Scott chord progression, that's one of like the biggest tips that I can give you. He does this in a lot of his music over countless songs on countless albums, especially if you work in the same BPM, if you work with the same sounds that Travis is using, some analog gear. Check out Scorch because we have some great synths, had to plug that in there. And then you also work in some of the different key progressions, the scales that he works in. You're going to easily be able to create a sound that is very reminiscent to the other sounds that he's used before. Another thing that always tends to happen in his music is a chord progression which is 1-5. I'm not the first to talk about the 1-5 chord progression. Actually, there's a great video online from the homie Aiden who breaks down the 1-5 chord progression and how it is used in Sicko Mode, Highest in the Room, Can't Say, and a bunch of other great Travis songs. So this is a chord progression he uses all the time. So I'll break down Highest in the Room so you can quickly apply that 1-5 chord progression to your next production. So that's the chord progression. So what I'm actually going to do to help this make a bit more sense, I'm actually just going to drag all these over so that we can actually see the real chords, because obviously they are doing arpeggiated kind of motion here. So I'm just going to take a look at some of these chords and then we'll find out exactly what's happening behind the scenes. So when I take those arpeggiated chords and I just find the notes that they're making up, this is what we get. So those are the chords. I went into Scalar and I recorded those chords quickly so I can see that we are in the D minor scale. And as you can see, we are going from the 1 to the 5. So we're just going back between the 1 and the 5, and obviously there's some movement and stuff here. And again, this is a trend that is very common in a lot of Travis songs. By the way, if you look in the description, you'll be able to find our favorite chord progressions, aka the numbering systems, and some of Travis's biggest songs in the description below, so go check that out. So now let's take everything that we just learned about making a Travis Scott beat and make a Travis Scott beat the easy way by using Scorch's built-in chord generator. So with Scorch, we did all the heavy lifting for you by taking the chords that define your favorite artists and putting them into this drop-down menu. So you can be using the same 90210 chords that Travis Scott used in your production just by clicking this. Okay, so I'm using the built-in chord generator, and I just want to show you how to use this. I'm not even using my MIDI controller, I'm just going to use my typing keyboard here. So with one finger, all I need to do is this. Crazy. Within seconds, I was able to come up with this crazy chord progression, all using the built-in chord generator inside of Scorch and our custom sounds, obviously. Crazy. So the next thing that we can actually do is if we go into Scorch, we open up our gear icon. We just need to change this output to anything that we want. So it could be 3, and now we can actually print that MIDI. So if I go right click, I go burn a new pattern, I can actually now see those chords and make sure that yeah, our chord progression is on par with Travis Scott. Now take a listen to this. I'll drop these down 1 octave. Crazy, the textures. So I quickly threw those chords into Scalar to just make sure I'm on track with that Travis sound, which is going from the 1 to the 2, which I'm doing. I start off with my B minor, and then I go to my C major. So B minor to C major, that's 1 to the 2. So again, very reminiscent to what was happening in 90210. Also Rest in Peace Screw, going from either like 1 to 2 or 3 to 4 or 5 to 6. Just going up 1 really gives that Travis sound. So you can definitely come up with those cool chord progressions without using Scorch. You definitely don't need Scorch. I'll show you how to do that just in FL Studio. It's a little bit more work, but nothing too crazy. So what I like to do is open up a sampler track. Then if you come over here to our stamp, we are then going to go either to a major or a minor chord. So for this instance, let's go to our minor chord, which would actually be our minor natural. So once we go there, we can then go into, let's say, the D minor chord. So what I'm going to do is click on D. And as you see, it just put all the notes from the D minor scale into FL Studio. So again, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So then the next thing we do, we come to Scorch, we could come to any other plugin, and we can actually start going from, let's say, highest in the room, 1 to the 5. So we could go 1, which is the D here, and then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is going to be the A here. So now we'll actually make some chords really quickly. So what I'll do is I'll duplicate this. So now we have 1 to the 5, 1 to the 5, and we know in highest in the room, obviously they're doing the arpeggiator. So what you could do is Control A, and that's going to bring up our arpeggiator. We don't want it to go that crazy. We could go normal, but we could actually switch our time and maybe do something like this. So now take a listen to the actual chords and then how you could arpeggiate it. Alt A will add some randomness to the velocity. So take a listen to this. So there you go, you have this arpeggiated melody that's very similar to highest in the room because you're going 1 to the 5. Maybe we'll pick a different sound for this. Okay, so what I quickly did there is added some space echo style delay, which you can do inside of Scorch with its built-in effects, and I know that's something that Travis does quite a bit. I added some synth bass, and I also added just a quick little 1-2 in the high end to give it a little bit of ear candy so that you get something like this. I also switched it up a key because I realized the key that I was in wasn't exactly that dark moody sound that I was looking for, so I got something like this. Take a listen. Alright, so in under 5 minutes, by knowing the chord progression, that 1-5, I was able to come up with something that's very reminiscent to highest in the room. It's definitely not highest in the room. I have no way saying that it is. Still need some time working on it with the mixing and stuff, but potentially, who knows, maybe this is a loop that I get placed and it ends up on a Travis record because I'm using something that's very familiar and sounds like him. Alright, so as I mentioned, the Travis Scott chord numbering system will be in the description below next to a link for Scorch. And like you saw there, Scorch makes coming up with chord progressions super easy, especially in the style of some of your favorite artists. You can turn on the chord generator and your MIDI controller will be filled with chart-topping chords. We wanted to stay true to the genre, so we worked with sample makers, sound designers, and producers in the industry to bring a unique and modern sound to Scorch. Plus, Scorch comes with a built-in chord generator like you saw today, and effects that will help you push the limits of what's next. Make sure you subscribe to the channel to get all the updates on Scorch and a bunch of other tutorials, and I'll see you soon.